Hey out there, folks, and welcome to episode 125 of the Cycling Hokkaido podcast. Were any of you out there in Hokkaido for last Tuesday? Were any of you actually here to bear witness to that blizzard? Whoo! That was a wild one, wasn't it? It wasn't the whole day, but, well, it had been snowing pretty much all day. So, in the kind of mid-afternoon, I'd gone out to do a decent shovel session, right? So I get all the driveway cleared, I get the sidewalk all cleared. I'm sitting inside on the couch afterwards, patting myself on the back for a job well done, when about 4 o'clock comes and I'm listening to this kind of wind howling outside. I'm like, what's that? I open up the curtains and bam! There is this complete whiteout of a blizzard going on. The weather just completely jumped off. I mean, the wind, the snow, the thunder. Oh my! We are really in the thick of Hokkaido's winter now, baby. But what actually sucks about this, what sucks more than it has in other years, is that my biker's elbow is not healing at all. All it needs is rest and time. And with all the shoveling there is right now, there is definitely no rest happening. This is life in Hokkaido. But there's nothing I can do about it. There's not a thing. I've been to the doctor. I could go to a therapist and do rehab and stuff, but I don't really see the point right now because I can't stop shoveling. It needs rest as well. And I just can't stop. You must shovel snow if you're living in a house in Hokkaido. There's no two ways about it. Lord knows, I wish I could. I wish I could just hand over the shovels to my wife and say, this is all on you now, my little woman. But that obviously is not going to happen. And the snow shoveling will remain a constant in my life until March, which should be just about the time we're getting ready to get back into the cycling season. So I could be starting up cycling again in 2026 already with a bum elbow. But again, what are you gonna do? That is just the way life is up here in Hokkaido. And the thing of it is, I actually don't mind shoveling snow. I mean, you're outside, you're exercising, it's not that bad of a chore. But what makes it awful is when you're fighting against time to get the cars dug out in the morning so my wife and I can get to work, right? And if the snowplow has been and completely walled off everybody's driveways, then it becomes a real chore because you're not just enjoying the sunny day in the snow. You're having to go through this awful experience of panic. Oh my God, can I get the cars out in time? And holy smokes, what are the roads and the highways going to be like when I actually start driving? If you're just playing in this stuff, if you're just playing up in the mountains, skiing, snowboarding, making snowmen, having snowball fights, then yeah, it's fantastic. And again, the shoveling, I don't really mind it. The only thing that makes it really suck is having to dig out in the morning. Like this morning, the snowplow had been last night because of that blizzard. Now, but it was kind of weird because after the initial snowfall in the day, the blizzard didn't actually bring that much more snow. The wind just kind of whipped everything around. And I already had it kind of shoveled for the most part, so it wasn't that bad. But the snowplow did come last night and did bury us in. But the snowplow was here at like 5 o'clock. I was outside at 5:15 in the morning. So the kind of snow wall didn't really have enough time to solidify. So you could still get a shovel into it, right? So that this morning, to be honest, it wasn't too bad because it hadn't frozen over, and it's a weird thing too. I have this weird thing when I know I have to get up and shovel before anything, and I know I'm probably going to have to be battling traffic. I don't sleep very well the night before. It's awful. My wife's like, there's no point in worrying about this. You're bringing nothing good to yourself. Just go to sleep. I'm like, I can't, because I know no matter what happens, I'm going to have to be up out the door shoveling at some ungodly hour. And sure enough, that's what happened today. So I'm actually recording this on very little sleep. And of course it had to happen on kind of like the first real full day back to work. Like, yeah, I've been back to work for a couple of weeks already, but this past week is when my full schedule has come slamming back into reality. And this storm, actually, I was going to say this storm that's hitting Hokkaido, but I think it's hitting the entire west coast of Honshu as well. And I think they're saying it's supposed to be like a once in a decade snowfall in coming with this storm. Ooh, so a lot more shoveling on the way this week, it looks like. And in case you were wondering, yes, I do have a snowblower, but that's not always practical to use. I know you see somebody with a snowblower, you think, oh, life must be so easy for that guy in the winter. But it's really not. Like, if both our cars are in the driveway, it's impossible to use it in the morning. You can't maneuver around cars in such a small space like that. And if the snowplow has been through, it really doesn't put a dent in those walls of ice because it just rolls up and over the ice. It doesn't dig into anything, right? So, for the most part, okay, don't get me wrong, when I come home from work and there's been a big, big snow dump and the driveway's empty, yeah, the snowplow's great. It takes half the time to get it all cleared. It's great. But many, many, many times over the winter, it's just simply not practical to use. So you have to actually just buckle down and dig. But this kind of brings me to my next point. Did you listen to the episode about Thailand last week? Did you catch any of the videos on the Cycling Hokkaido podcast Instagram page or my YouTube page? Well, I've been putting up reels recently because I was reading that for promotion and things, reels are the way to go. They do much better than pictures. They do much better than stories. Instagram and things like that are kind of pushing reels, the videos, short videos. Well, I accidentally learned a lot this week about reels. Now, I put up a couple of reels of movies I put together about our trip to Thailand. I put up reels about our long-tail boat ride around hidden Bangkok. I put a reel up about our experience on Koh Phangan, right? And they were doing okay. They were getting some views. Now, sorry, believe me, I am nowhere near an influencer. I'm talking like a few hundred views, 500, 600, 800 views and things, right? On what I usually get on reels and things like that. And that's great for me. I'm really happy with that. That's nice. It says to me, hey, a couple of people out there are paying attention and that's fine. It's not Mr. Beast level or anything like that by a long shot, as I'm sure you can probably tell by the followers, the amount of downloads these podcast episodes get. But again, I'm in this for me. I love doing this again, right? Okay, anyway, back to reels. So I thought images of beautiful Thailand would just be a huge hit, right? You'd think so. That's the natural thinking. Beautiful place, exotic place, people are going to dig it. But last week, was it last week? Yeah. Last week I had to dig out our wood deck, right? I don't want too much snow to pile up on it because I would like to use the wood deck next summer again, right? And Hokkaido winters can be particularly brutal on wood furnishings and things that are left outside all winter. Okay, so I shovel the deck regularly. I keep the snow off. Well, last week also we had a big snow dump, and the way our house is angled and set up, snow kind of falls directly onto the deck off the roof. Not the best design in the world, but that was the best place we could find to put the deck because that's where our screen door is as well and things, right? Okay, anyway. So after the snow finished falling off the roof one night, it was about 9 p.m. And I thought, damn it, if I let that snow sit out there, it's just going to turn to ice and I'll never get it off the deck, right? So I'm out there at 9 o'clock at night and I start shoveling a significant amount of snow off the deck. And my wife just popped her head around the corner, opened the screen door, and just shot a little video of me shoveling snow at night. Well, folks, it turns out that shoveling snow is a much bigger hit on Instagram Reels than beautiful Thailand. It's a much bigger hit. I mean, we got thousands of views for that video. And the video I took of the blizzard has got like 8,500 views on YouTube. It's wild. I couldn't figure out what it was, you know. Why would something as mundane as shoveling snow resonate with people when a gorgeous trip to Thailand maybe doesn't? Well, I looked into it a little bit, and it seems that shoveling snow is relatable for most of you out there. It's a struggle. Even if you're not in a snowy country, you can relate to struggle. So, that was pretty wild. I mean, everybody's got hardship, everybody's got difficult things in their life. And as I'm shoveling, you can clearly see I'm shoveling wet, heavy snow, right? And people thought that was much more interesting than a gorgeous life on the beach. People like to see other people suffer. Even if it's just a little bit of something like shoveling snow at night, shoveling wet, heavy snow at night when most people are getting ready for bed. And I don't know, I also suppose that it's that kind of video is much truer to my life here in Hokkaido. Now, another thing I actually did last week while I was shoveling a massive wall in by the snowplow last week is I used my ride with GPS to track how far I actually walk when doing those big dig outs. Check this out, folks. Just up and down my driveway, around the side to the back of my house and back, moving all the snow from the sidewalk, from the driveway, from out front of the garbage can, I actually shoveled for 5.2 kilometers. I couldn't believe it when I got in, when I looked at the data for the shovel. It was actually a 5.2 kilometer shovel. Holy smokes, man. That was just, I was really surprised at that. What I really want to understand, what I really want to make known to me is the tonnage. I would love to know the actual tonnage of snow I moved during those big dig outs. It's got to be way up there. And can you imagine how many tons of snow you move over the course of a winter? Wow, it's got to be Herculean. But getting back to the reels things, really surprising. Boring works, beautiful doesn't always. And I kind of misunderstood that. Now, I just had a great time on that vacation and just wanted to talk about it. You know, again, I named the episode Off Base. It's a one-off. That's not really what this podcast is about. This is not a podcast about traveling to exotic places, hanging out on the beach. This is about living the suck in the winter of Hokkaido and cycling your butt off. So I'm getting back to that this week, right? But I just wanted to do that one-off episode, and I just wanted to talk about what I found out about those reels, because I've just kind of been laughing away about it this week. I did not expect, again, something as simple, as commonplace as shoveling snow and a blizzard scene to gather thousands of views while life on the beach gets kind of stagnant. But anyway, I know scenes on the beach and talking about, life in the sun. I know that's not why most of you are following this show. Again, it was just a one-off that I thought was interesting to do. But oh man, again, it was really, really interesting that people had a much more emotional reaction to me shoveling snow than fire shows on the beach in Thailand. Y'all like to keep it real with reels. Yes, I just said that. Sorry. I guess it's a very common misconception. You think that beauty attracts people. As it turns out, shared misery is much more powerful. Snow does better than beautiful Thailand. Who would have thought? And learning, again, I'm learning a lot about life through doing this podcast. Of course, one of the biggest things I'm learning this week, in the next week, I'm going to be 52 years old. Now, that's not weird in itself, but what is weird about it is as of next week, I will be as old as my mother ever got to be. She died from cancer at the age of 52 years old. She was really, really close to her 53rd birthday. But there you have it. She was 52 when she left us. And in my mind, she was a fully functioning member of society. Well-regarded, an adult, responsible, all of that. That is, you know what I mean? You know how you think of your parents? I hope most of you out there have that kind of extremely positive image of your parents being people that can do anything, fit in anywhere, are together and complete humans. And while I have that image of her at 52, I'm going to be the same age, and I just feel like I am still a full and complete moron. I'm sure a lot of you out there can relate to that, but I thought by the time I got to my mom's age, I would be an adult. But nope. Again, my mom was 52 when she died, and in my head, 52 meant you had figured it out. Well, folks, I'm 52 now, and I just figured out that shoveling snow gets more views than fire videos in Thailand. Oh my God. It's a weird feeling. I don't know if any of you have the misfortune of getting to your parents' age when they were still pretty young. I think 52 is still pretty young. But it's definitely an odd feeling, to feel that if I was at a social event, we would be peers now. And I'm kind of rambling a bit here, but in my mind, there's just a couple of things that just don't quite add up with that. You know what I mean? So anyway, yeah. Let's leave that at that then, shall we? Okay. So, folks, we are back in Hokkaido. We are back living the life that Hokkaido provides. I hope all you skiers and snowboarders out there are enjoying the snow. There should be lots of that fresh japao up in the mountains this week. And if there isn't right now, there should be a hell of a lot more on the way. So, folks, from the snowy climes of Hokkaido, I say goodbye to you this week. And I'll talk to you soon. Love ya.
Cycling Hokkaido!